Marilyn Powers, and we are live. So go ahead.
Hi, everybody. Dreams are international. Everyone dreams, no matter where you were born, where you're living now, where you travel. Everyone dreams. I'm Dr. Marilyn Powers. My friends call me Coco with a K. Today, we are so excited. Dream Central now is live. We can chat. I can't wait to receive your comments, respond to your questions, and have conversations, chat about your dreams. Our co-founder, Steve Villoni, will be managing the chat. He said a few words at the beginning, and we're ready to begin. The author and creator of your dreams is your lifetime companion, your intuitive genius who expands your vision, triggers your imagination, ignites your passion, and predicts your future. Your dreams are a bridge between your social identity and your authentic self. Often you feel the social identity limits you, puts you in a box. It's about where you were born, who your family, what's your career, the statistics. Your authentic self that has access to your intuitive genius expands your consciousness to infinite possibilities, past, present, and future.
So you have a fan that says hi, and she's sending you hearts. B3CKH. She says hi. Say hi to her.
Hi. Thank you for joining the chat.
And then your boy Janelle just says, did he just walk into a presentation? Say hi, Jamel.
Hi, Jamel. Yes. Dreams, the story of your life. You're at Dream Central now. What I also want to share with you is that
And
Steve
Sandy Parenti says hello to you, Marilyn.
Hi, Sandy. Where are you now? In California or somewhere else?
And King's World says, what is this? You want to share a little bit again about what we're doing today on Dream Central now?
Yes.
And Sandy's in Minnesota.
And Sandy is in Minnesota. Today, we are published a book called Dreams, the Story of Your Life, an interactive guide and journal that gives you direct access to this intuitive genius within you who knows your past, knows where you are now, and most important, where you're moving forward. This companion is a lifetime companion, and your dreams daily give you messages that are personal about you and what's the highest and best for you in your life. I first connected to the story of my life and dreams when I was 27 in a farm village 17 miles out of Zurich, Switzerland. It was a low point in my life. I felt isolated in a marriage with 2 twin girls and didn't know how I had gotten to this place of feeling so shut down that in the daytime, all I wanted to do was sleep. At that time, my husband then told me about the C.G. Jung Institute. A colleague he had known in the United States said, check it out. That was the turning point in my life, one of the most important events in the darkest moment of my soul. I began 3 times a week driving into Zurich, having a little coffee, and going up the steps to engage with my Jungian dream analyst.
Do you want to say hi to Brother Rob and BLUUD? Say hello.
Hello, I'm glad you're here. Each time I would bring my dreams and share them and have these conversations. One of the dreams was a voice saying to me, Marilyn, you are a mystic. If somebody asks you for a carrot or a potato, don't just give them the amount they ask for. Give them all you have. You have the whole reality within you. Therefore, there's no limit to your giving. What amazed me is I never thought I was a mystic. And if I thought about mysticism, which I studied in graduate school, I wouldn't think it was about carrots and potatoes. I am a practical mystic. At the same time, with my Jungian analyst, I brought dreams which expressed my rage and emotional feelings. I would be in the hallway to the apartment where I grew up, and I was throwing milk bottles, glass milk bottles, breaking them at the door in the hallway. And I realized, oh yes, I always knew I had power struggles with my parents, but I never had felt the depth of the rage in my soul. And my dreams began expressing that rage and moving me forward through those feelings. Good friend of mine once shared a little jingle. I am brave, and I allow myself to feel the feelings that I have. They're part of being real. So we see this contrast between the mystical me and the vulnerable, emotional girl looking for some relief and connection. Later on in the story of my life with my dreams, I remember Steve and I being in the hot tub with our daughters, and he sharing a dream in which he said, I dreamed last night, Marilyn, we moved to Italy. And I said to him, not Italy, but Sonoma, California. 3 months later, we left San Diego, La Jolla, and moved to Sonoma, downtown in the square, where the next 4 years we would do many dynamic undertakings and me leading bridge seminars, which were about creating your future creatively. Our dreams have a breadth and dimensions that we can't possibly be aware of, because who we are is like a vast ocean of possibilities, where our social identity is like an island.
So ask if Sandy's still here, if she has a question, or anybody else.
Does Sandy or anyone who's been listening have a question that you would like to ask? What I know is the other day I came out of getting a facial, and I gave Lily my card with the picture of Dreams, the Story of Your Life. And she immediately says, Marilyn, I have recurring dreams. And I said, really? Do they go back to childhood? Well, there was one about my teeth and feeling like I couldn't breathe. And that was when I was in a relationship with some guy. And I said, can you tell me more? Did you want to get out of the relationship? Were you able to communicate? And she said, I felt like I couldn't breathe. I couldn't communicate. And the dream kept reoccurring. You see, our dreams always repeat. What is it that we most need, the help we need to let go and move forward? Finally, she said, I had the courage to go with him to couple counseling and were able to complete that relationship. Guess what? I said, did the recurring dreams stop? She said, yes. This is important because often when we begin new challenges in life, we may have recurring dreams about feeling unprepared and anxious before a test, where the test is we're entering a new domain into new work, new career. It's so important that we begin this inner conversation. This is genuine intimacy, where our dreams are sharing and speaking to us from the heart, from our soul. And we are available to listening, to appreciating who we are from the inside out.
Question from Sandy. Sandy would like to know how she can prepare herself at night for remembering her dreams. She forgets them.
Very good. Interesting. We put out a video called Preparation for Dream Recall. And also, what was the one that's going out tonight, Steve? I'm trying to remember the name of that video.
That's the guided meditation with the temple.
The Temple of Serenity. That video explains the steps. Step 1 is, at least before you enter sleep, that you have some private, personal time. Second, that you make sure that you have your recording device very close and easily accessed when you become aware in your sleep state that you're dreaming. Another piece that is helpful is writing the date you have the dream, because often your dreams are connected to the background of the day. Then, as you enter sleep, to begin to calm yourself, relax, and shift your focus from the outer to the inner world. Now, for example, last night when I was dreaming the first time, and often we dream 3 or 4 times a night, initially I had some fragments, and I was aware that it was about 2:45. No matter whether it's a fragment or a novel, write it down. Later in the morning, I had a dream about being part of a group, and that the group was leaving without me. And suddenly I realized they had forgotten me. In the dream, I ran over to them and said, "How could you forget me? Why didn't you check if I was alive or something had happened to me?" And they were dumbfounded. So often in a dream, we may feel that we're forgotten, or the plane will leave and we won't be on it. So what I'm saying here, in recalling your dreams, the minute that you become aware that you're dreaming, gently pivot. Either record the dream or write it down on your pad. Often write what was the end of the fragment or the dream and take it forward. Just write it down. Be a faithful secretary. Don't analyze it. Don't make judgments. Just write it down and let go and move back into sleep.
Sandy says thank you with a heart.
Thank you, Sandy, for sharing, because I'm sure that others like yourself want to begin that process of tracking and recalling and recording your dreams. So you know, when I was working with a 67-year woman, cancer patient in Cincinnati, doing my PhD on the therapeutic use of dreams with cancer patients, her name was Thelma. And at 67, she recalled over a 9-month period with me over 227 dreams. Why? First of all, she knew I was visiting her 3 times a week, and that she had somebody to hear the story of her life as it was unfolding in her dreams.
So you have a hello from Nancy Weichel in San Diego. Say hi to Nancy.
Hi, Nancy. I'm so happy we're connecting today. To continue with Thelma, I would come to her house and we would listen together. She spoke her dreams into a recorder. As she explained the dream, I would write it down, and then we would chat with it. Now, what's interesting with Thelma, she often had a recurring dream about her husband, who 12 months before she got cancer, died. She wondered why he kept coming in her dream. Because as I said before, our dreams have a reason for recurring. I said to her, Thelma, we must be missing something because your dreams wouldn't keep persisting about your ex. Is there something, Thelma, you haven't shared with me? And she thought a moment and she said, you know, the night my husband left, I was at home sleeping. I had told him in the period he was in the hospital that I would always be by his side and never leave him before death. My children encouraged me that one night and said, Mom, you need rest. And so I went home, and when I woke, I got the message that Stanley had died. I had enormous guilt. I didn't keep my promise and commitment to him. After she acknowledged that, and I explained that sometimes a person won't leave while a loved one is with them physically, but will leave when they're not present. After that, Thelma never had recurring dreams about Stanley. Also, when developing this intimate relationship with your dreams, and as you begin to record them, make sure to keep the background of the day so you connect with the feelings and emotions or issues that may have come up during the day. But you know, when we're in a hurry, we're racing here and there, often we don't pay attention to our feelings or an issue that is bothering you between somebody at work or even in your marriage. However, your intuitive genius never forgets your feelings. Think about that. In your dreams, your feelings are visible. Every thought, every aspect of who you are is important to the dream author and creator. You know, often in daily life, it's as if people only see our social identity, what we do, whether we're successful or not. But the inner you is forgotten. But your dreams never forget you. I want to also let you know about another recurring dream that Jane had, because these recurring dreams come often. Her husband had left the planet, and for several weeks after, he would appear in her dream and point to a dresser drawer. Finally, she was so frustrated, she went, opened the drawer, and to her amazement was an insurance policy for $50,000. Our dreams are aware of what we need, when we need, and how we can fulfill our needs.
Sandy says she loves that and that your dreams never leave you.
Right. I think this is an important point, Sandy, and I'm glad you're sharing it. So often we feel alone, that we have this spiritual void in us, and that if we don't do it, there's no one who is going to be behind us or support us. But this inner guidance system within us is tracking every movement and feeling, and also knows the larger direction of our life. I remember when I was living still in Cincinnati, and I had a dream about being in La Jolla, California. I had never heard of La Jolla. I was originally from the East Coast, now in Cincinnati. And in my dream, I was a waitress living in a rental on the beach and serving food in a cafe to get a paycheck and pay for my lifestyle of walking the beach and going in the ocean. Many years later, I was in La Jolla, California, where Steve and I met, and we co-founded a foundation to help children's self-esteem, to nurture and feed them. And I thought, isn't that amazing that so many years before I was in La Jolla serving as a waitress, and now I was an advocate nurturing children in the world.
There's a few more people that have joined, but they haven't shared anything. Nancy or anybody else that would like to share?
You know, I know your dreams are personal, and so there's a hesitation to share a dream. You're safe. You're not going to be exposed. A dream actually is representing the highest and best. And like those childhood experiences I had early on in Jungian analysis, throwing milk bottles and getting out my rage, that was the beginning of my healing process. And allowing ourselves to be authentic.
Nancy says she has no question, just enjoying listening to you. We can thank her for being here today.
I am really happy, and we still have a little time left before we will complete. So if you have a comment or a question, I do want to mention nightmares, because often in childhood and in adulthood, we may have a nightmare, and that tunes us out from wanting to remember our dreams. Nightmares occur when we are willful and unwilling to take an action or communicate or protect ourselves, and they are waking us up to let us know we can't be passive and we need to take action. So whether you get a strong message and you call it a nightmare, or a recurring dream, or a dream that is predictive, or expresses your passion for life. It's interesting that Steve many months before we decided to do Dream Central now, would have all these dreams in which he was interacting and networking with different groups and organizations. And in the morning when we would share our dreams, he would say to me, Marilyn, why am I dreaming about this? My focus is finance now. I said, we will discover. And that's what's happening now.
So we have a question from Julie Marie. Julie Marie says, great to hear more about dreams. I recently had a dream where I was walking quietly through a jungle lake filled with huge sleeping tigers. They were not dangerous as, oh my God.
So what you're saying,
And Julie Marie says, long as I enjoy DEY. I'm not sure what that is, but so I'll repeat it for you.
thank you.
Coco, great to hear more about dreams. I recently had a dream where I was walking quietly through a jungle lake filled with huge sleeping tigers. They were not dangerous.
This is really a great dream to share, Julie Marie. When we have animals in our dreams, they mirror instincts that we have that either may be dormant or active. The setting of being in a jungle, I'm assuming you felt surrounded by the beauty and the vegetation, and that in this lake, the water of the unconscious, were these tigers, a part of yourself that has been sleeping and dormant.
So she also says, oops, the tigers weren't dangerous as long as I didn't disturb them.
So what you're saying, what would it meant, Julie Marie, if you disturbed the tigers?
Yes, it was all gorgeous and warm and lovely.
I hear that. What I'm hearing is this, what the tigers represent to you. What would a tiger mean to you? What aspects, characteristics, what's the personality of a tiger? Does she answer?
If she does, I'll come back to you. You can expand on what you know so far. Here she is. They tear me apart if they were woken, she says.
So what I'm hearing, there is a part of you that feels if you let out your creative strength and expression, this dynamic, powerful woman you are, you might meet with attack and criticism from others outside you. And so you let the tigers sleep.
She says they were wild, dangerous, and beautiful.
And how would it feel, Julie Marie, if you could say, the tiger in me is wild and free and spontaneous? How does that feel? Could you think that of yourself? Because this is a part that's sleeping and going unexpressed.
Oh, that's an amazing take, she says. Makes sense since I'm thinking of writing more.
There you go. What is it?
I love it, she says. I love it.
Yes, that's the tiger in you that wants to come into expression in your present life. And there's a little fear if you begin writing and expressing all that's within you, You may be under attack or get criticized. How does that feel, Julie Marie? Think about that.
I'm going to come out and just say hi to everybody.
Wonderful.
Hi, everybody. I am behind the scenes supporting my wife, Marilyn. I'm Steve Viglione. And thank you, Julie Marie and Nancy and Sandy, for sharing. We really appreciate it. Isn't she doing a great job? She is a master interpreter of dreams. So anybody listening that hasn't shared yet, feel free to ask Marilyn a question in the chat and I will read it. I just didn't want to be a voice behind the scenes. I wanted you to see there was a person there. I'll leave it to you.
A wonderful person. And our book, Dreams, the Story of Your Life, we co-authored together. And it's an internal guide and journal. Yes?
So Julie completes with that. She says, probably what's holding me back from writing more. Thank you, Steve and Marilyn.
Thank you.
And we also heard from Lori Waller, our dear friend in San Diego, just like our other dear friends that showed up today. Thank you all. Lori sending love and, like Nancy, appreciating you, sharing your skills at these unprecedented times.
Yes, and that I want to validate. Your social identity and mass consciousness cause fear, disorientation, and helplessness. And at the same time, your authentic self, your intuitive genius can guide you on your path safely, keeping you in the arms of love.
So Nancy shares again, wonderful, love to see your smiling face, Marilyn, and Steve's too. And Lori just shared that she just bought the book and loves How I Love Up Marilyn.
Thank you so much. We're almost at the end. Any other comment or a dream?
Really thank everybody for showing up. They have been amazing.
I am so happy that you showed up. You didn't forget me. You heard my dream before. I thought the train would go without me, but all of you have been here today supporting and loving me. We want to tell you to subscribe so you can get more of our videos that will help you track, recall, record, and interpret your dreams. We've shared about the book. And what else could we say, Steve?
And Sandy says thank you to us too. So thanks, Sandy, for being on the call as well, or the chat.
For now, we are complete.
Say goodbye to everybody. They're still there. And I'm
Goodbye.
trying to figure out how to exit here. First timer. I'm a newbie at this.
He's figuring out how to close the station. He is so amazing. My husband, Steve, his talents, gifts, creativity are such a gift to me.